Hey guys, Fluff here. Attack on TCG, back at you with another Dragon Ball deck profile. This Friday, we got the Clash of Fates themed booster 3. And so Bancroft and I decided that this week we would do 2 decks from the new set. I wasn't super excited for this set, honestly, but now that I've had a chance to play with it, I really like some of the themes in the set. So before I get into the deck profile, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you like this video. If you want to see us do anything specific with the stuff that came out of this set, make sure to let us know. If you have any comments or feedback on this, also let us know. And we do apologize if you hear a slight humming noise in the background. Our HVAC went out. It's like 12 degrees, 17 degrees outside, and it's colder than shit, so if my hands look really cold, I do apologize, but we're going to get through this. So starting off with the deck profile, we've got the Son Goku green leader from this new set. He's actually a really awesome leader. I undervalued this leader when I first started testing him, but on his front side, 10,000 auto burst 2 when he attacks. 2 cards from your deck go into the drop area, then you discard 1 green card to draw 2 cards. Sounds like Harudagarn, because that's exactly what it was, minus the burst 2. And then awaken when you're at 4 or less life. Choose 2 of your energies, switch them back to active mode, flip the card over. On the backside, we see Son Goku, the legendary Super Saiyan, very reminiscent of one of the best arcs in the series, but auto sparking 5. So when we've got 5 in the drop area, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. And if a Crillon card is in your drop area, this card gains 5,000 power and double strike for the turn. That's amazingly easy to do in this deck. So pretty much by the time you're awakened, you're almost guaranteed to have a Crillon in there through bursting or comboing. Or if your opponent's slow rolling you, maybe you've already played a Crillon and it's been destroyed by battle or card effect, but you'll probably have a Crillon in your drop area. So this is the leader that we're using. We are running a mono green deck. So getting into the deck profile, I'm testing out 4 of the new Tenacious Spirit Son Gohan. I actually really like this card. I think people are sleeping on this card. I think this card is going to be really good, especially since Storm kind of went away and people aren't as hyped on the new blue Goku feature rare that came out. But I think this card is going to be really good. So it's a 1-drop. You play it, you get to draw 1, much like Majin Buu and other cards that have come out since. And then activate main once per turn. You can pay 2 green energies. He then gains 15,000 in crit, making him a 20,000 crit machine throughout the turn. I love this card. I might end up adjusting this card a little bit once I kind of expand out from the set and begin experimenting with different archetypes, but I wanted to leave it as much oriented to this set as I could. There are a few things that are splashed in there and you'll see why, but I love this card. I think people are sleeping on it. It's going to be really good, and it's part of what makes green good this set. So we do run 4 of those. I was kind of struggling for things to play in this deck, so I decided to add 2 of the newfound power Son Gohan. Kind of fits with the whole theme. It kind of occurs in the same saga, but it's also another good card. 1-drop when it attacks 1 card from your life, it gains 10,000 in crit. So we can crit fairly easily early game in this deck. I don't search these out. I don't go out of my way to find these or play these, but if I've got them first turn, great. If not, it's a good energy later game when I don't necessarily need to lose life. So we do play 2 of those. And then kind of our other 1-drop in the deck is 2 of the Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. I wanted to play this card because there's a ton of non-keyword skills that play cards from your hand. A bunch of the new Frieza stuff does that. Shenron stuff does that. I mean, there's just an absolute ton that does it. So it reads, when this card attacks, you may add 1 card from your life. If you do, this card gains 10,000 for the turn. And then when your opponent plays a battle card with 15,000 power or less using a non-keyword skill, your opponent chooses 3 cards from their hand and places them in the drop area. So this is going to really force your opponent to choose to not play cards or sacrifice cards in their hand to do so. So I do play these. I don't always play them on board, but I'd rather have them and need them than need them and not have them or any hope of getting to them. So we do play 2 of those. Then getting into our 2-drops, I think one of the most important cards in the deck is Fledgling Duo Son Gohan. This lets us reduce the energy cost of all Krillins by 1. You still have to pay their specified costs, but the good thing to remember is these stacks. So if you've got 2 on these, a 4-drop Krillin becomes 2 greens, which is great. You want to find at least one of these early. They've got barrier, so it's problematic for your opponent to try to get rid of them. But though it's not impossible, there's a lot of things that ignore barrier and just blow up the field now. So keep that in mind. Kami's still floating around. You don't want to swarm too much. You just want to keep just enough to keep going and make your plays easier. I chose not to run the blue mix in this deck because I didn't like the way that Objection clogged my hand. And and now that Storm's not a thing, this deck doesn't really need it as much. So, but we do run 4 of these. And then for our super combo, we run the ever dependable Bulma. I don't think you can go wrong with the super combo. You could run the Sparking 5 Vegeta from set 5. You could run the Bulma. You could run any of the other green leader specific combo cards or super combos, but I chose to run this one when you're at 5 or less. We do try to awaken as fast as possible. Getting to 4 or 5 is not a big deal in this deck, so that makes her live fairly quickly. Though in most of my testings, it seems like my deck searches these guys out and wants to burst them. I think in 2 of the 3 games that I've tested on this one, I've bursted 3 of them. So do keep out for that. That can be problematic, but it's not game ending if it happens. One of the things that lets us awaken early is the Hyperspeed Son Goku. This is another new one out of this set. It's a 3-drop. When you play this card, you choose up to 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand. If you chose to add to at least 1 card from your life to your hand, this card gains 15,000 in crit, making him the turn that he's played a 30,000 crit. So your opponent is either going to take a crit, combo like crazy to not take the crit, or waste a negate, negating this attack. And it comes out turn 3. So it's a really great card to play. Late game, I find it being a auto combo piece or an easy card to energy without seeing much to it. But if your opponent is slow rolling you and playing a really passive deck, you want to be able to awaken. So we do play 3 of these cards in just that event. Now, kind of getting into some of the stars of this deck, I'm really glad they decided to put a little bit of love into Crillon. But we do have the new Crillon. Let me pull this up. The shatter foil on this is kind of stupid. Persistent Assault Crillon. Barrier auto. When you play this card, draw 1. Then if your leader is green or black, and this card is in rest mode, your opponent's cards can't attack leader cards. So it's like a Deadly Defender. It's not quite as strong as a Deadly Defender, but it does net you a draw. It really forces your opponent to get rid of it or not attack your leader, which is exactly what we want them to do in this deck. We want Krillins to get sacrificed, and your opponent has to do it one way or another in order to get to your leader. Or if they'll just stall and you'll build a board and win. Either way, but love this card. I think it's a fantastic addition to green. They're very lucky to get that card. And then the other piece to the Crillon kind of engine is the Fledgling Duo Crillon. He does have blocker. He's a 4-drop, 15,000. When you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. This guy's awesome, though I don't like him as much as the Persistent Assault Crillon, so I do only run this at 3. I do sometimes get a little clogged with Crillon, so I'm only running 7 in the deck, but I see them often enough to do what I need to do with them. So we do run 3 of this guy. Good blocker, there's nothing wrong with a blocker. They're either going to destroy it before you have a chance to block with it, or you're going to block and let them kill it and punish them for doing so. Kind of draw and support, we've got 4 of the Infernal Villainy Cells. These are greens. They're easy charges early game. They're great to have handy late game. We do run 4 of these. They've got critical if you end up having to play them, but when you combo with them, it does cost 1, but it's kind of a pseudo combo, much like the old Gokus. So don't sleep on this card. It's awesome, just as much as the old red Goku is really good. Now, kind of into the star of the show, we've got Final Showdown Son Goku, and we've got one of the special rares there. We got lucky to get one of those, so just kind of display the difference there. But these are the same card. 5 cost, double strike, 25,000. That in and of itself is not particularly impressive, but his play condition is what makes him impressive. So when a Crillon of energy cost 4 or more on your field is destroyed by battle or card effect by your opponent, that's very important, by your opponent, so you can't play this with a deck that pops cards on your side of the field and get this effect. But you free play him from your hand, and then you choose one card on your opponent's side of the field, ignoring barrier, and KO it. This is awesome. It's super disruptive. If your opponent's not ready for it, this will really disrupt their plays. Now, I do feel like that your opponent would be ready for it, but sometimes they don't have a choice but to sacrifice. There are a few cards in the game right now that kind of shuts this card down. One being the new 5-drop Frieza. This card is susceptible to Cold Bloodlust. This card is susceptible to pretty much anything that would stop its effect. There's another card in this set that would... Oh, I'm sorry. Nope, I've spitballing there, but Cold Bloodlust and the new 5-drop Frieza are the two main ones that I can think of there. We do run 4 of these. He's awesome. He's easy to play. And if you end up bursting them, worry not, because we play something in here that would fix that. So we've got that. Kind of going off of that Goku, I do play one of the finishing Spirit Bomb Son Goku. Right now I'm playing this at a 1 of. I would honestly play this at a 3 of if I had them. But for some reason, I just didn't get a lot of BT3, so I didn't have any more of these. I've got some more coming. I think the deck will benefit having more of these in it. It's exactly like the other Goku. It's got double strike. It's an EX Evolve 1, place 1 green card from your hand into your drop area. But what makes him awesome is when this card attacks, choose 3 cards in your drop area and combo with them. So if you have super combos in your drop area, you can choose 3 super combos. Or if you played the Kawaii key card, you could combo with those and play them on the field after the fact. But it's just nice if you play the final Showdown Son Goku and then EX Evolve into this next turn. You can attack, your opponent's going to negate it, or you're going to combo like mad and just plus off of it. Like I said, I would probably run 3 of these if I had it, but right now I've only got the 1. So I had to make a little bit of improvisation there. I do run 2 of the Awakened Rage Son Goku. These came out of BT1, I believe. It's an OG of the game. I was playing I think it's Unstoppable Super Saiyan Blue that came out of set 2. That is an EX Evolve double strike that stands itself back up with barrier. I ended up not really liking that one as much. It kind of felt silly, but I get why people are playing it. It's just not maybe my playstyle. And since we're running Krillons, this guy's pretty much guaranteed to have triple strike. He is a bit costly to evolve. He does cost 5 energy. But when you play him, you're pretty much going to blow up the field. Your opponent chooses, you choose a number of your opponent's battle cards for which the total adds up to 6 or less and KO them. So if they're swarming you or they've got 1 problematic card on the field, you could play this and just get rid of it. I do really like this card, but when I get the finishing Spirit Bomb Son Gokus, I will totally switch these out for those because I think they are more valuable than these, in all truthfulness. Now getting into our extra cards, we do run a large amount of extra cards in this deck. Our standard negate is Shocking Death Ball. We do run a green leader. It's awesome to be able to protect yourself if for whatever reason you had to tap out. And sometimes that happens with having the 4-cost Krillons in here. If you haven't been able to get one of those Gohans on the field, or something just hasn't gone your way, you have to pay 4 energy on turn 4 to play a Crillon. You can still protect yourself with Shocking Death Ball while also destroying some of their smaller things. So, do love this negate. I think it's fantastic. That's why we run 4 of them. Then kind of as a supplement to what the leaders got, remember the leader got double strike plus 5,000 with a Crillon in the drop area. We play Feet Kamehameha, which gives him another 15,000 in critical on that attack. So that's going to make him 35,000 critical double strike, which isn't terrible at all. These are honestly bang for bang better than Champa's. though this only affects the leader. So if your opponent is anticipating it, it might negate the leader, so you don't get this off. But I do love having the 2 in here, and I actually use it quite often. So they are useful. Then we also do play 2 of the King Vegeta surprise attack. Your opponent has to deal with that Crillon, so you can use this to give a blocker Crillon, or that kind of mock deadly defender Crillon. You can give it revenge for the duration of the turn. So revenge will just straight destroy every card that touches that Crillon for the turn. I do love putting this on that Crillon and then super defending that Crillon and letting your opponent either give up on their turn or blow all their battle cards up trying to get through it. So we do run 2 of these. I could see bringing this to 3, but 2 has served me well up until this point. Looking at new stuff from the set, we have Preemptive Strike. I think Preemptive Strike changes green standing right now completely. So if your leader is green, your opponent plays a battle card. This is a counterplay, much like Cold Bloodlust. But as long as its energy cost is 4 or less, instead of being played, it's placed in the drop area, which is incredibly disruptive. It's disruptive for swap engines. It's disruptive for a multitude of different things. I think there's a few of the Janembas that are 4 drops, and it just requires you to have 2 energy on board. So it's a little costly in that regard, but every time you play this, it's going to be disruptive. As long as you're not wasting it on like a 1 drop or something that doesn't affect the game state, this card is going to prove incredibly beneficial for you. So we do run 3, 4 was probably a little cloggy. 3 might be a little bit cloggy, but you want to see it when you want to see it. I often find myself playing this around turn 2 or turn 3 in this deck. So keep that in mind when you're building this deck and when you're ending your turns. Do you have enough energy to pay Preemptive Strike while also keeping yourself defended? And then last but not least, kind of an old throwback from BT3, we play To Save a Hopeful Future. This was a card that I actually forgot about until I was kind of going through my sets and looking at everything. And I was like, oh, a 4 cost energy, what does it do? Activate main, choose one of your green battle cards with an energy cost of 5 or less in your drop area and play it. So if for whatever reason we've milled the Showdown Goku, the final Showdown Goku, we can play that. Now, he only gets his destroy 1 card on the field if he's played from hand, so he wouldn't get that from this card, but it would give us a triple strike on the field, or if we wanted to go to a finishing Spirit Bomb, or we wanted to just put a little bit of pressure on your opponent, you can play this. This will also grab a Crillon if you need a Crillon while you've got one of these in your hand. So if you've milled a Crillon or had to combo off with one, and you need to play one and you don't really have a way to play one, you can use this to play Crillon. I don't always see myself wanting to play this card, but I would much rather have the flexibility of grabbing a Crillon or a Goku from the drop area than just lose them if I accidentally burst them. That's why we only play 2. It's not always wanted, but we want it just in case it's there. Well, that, if my counting is correctly, is 50 cards for the mono green legendary Super Saiyan Goku deck. I don't know what to call this. Probably Krillon's dead Goku, because that's the whole aim of the deck, is to just kill Crillon so Goku gets angry and wins the game for you. But again, like I said earlier, make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see us do different things with the new set or any older set. Make sure to let us know. I've got a couple ideas up my sleeve. Bancroft's got a couple ideas up his sleeve, and we're really interested to see where the meta is going to go with this set. And I just saw the yellow Bojack cards that are coming out in set 6, and I can tell you that I am incredibly excited for those. Probably more than I am the Brawly or Gogeta stuff that's coming. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day.